Welcome back, and you're now at day 21 on our program on how to buy your first commercial property in 70 days. That's 3 weeks into the program. That's a great effort. Congratulations. Well done. You are just powering. You are awesome. Are you getting the message that this is a really good moment for you? Today we're just going to recap the past week, because it's always important not to get too overloaded with information, but to continue to keep track and keep everything in line so you can see what the program's doing. And this is also the opportunity for you to connect directly with me, because I am very much interested and concerned to make sure that you succeed in getting the goal that you're looking for. This week has been principally about going shopping, and in this case going commercial property shopping. So the first day that we looked at sourcing properties in regards to what sort of websites, as in commercial real estate or realcommercial.com being the two main ones. Also things like having a look at commercial realtors and looking at their websites for perhaps some off-market listings, even just driving around town and having a look what's available. Then we went from selecting properties to shortlisting properties, because what usually happens when you go selecting properties, you either got like 2 or 3 because your criteria is so tight, or you got 2,223 and you need to do the other side, and that is cull them very dramatically. Your first bit of homework for today is send me the link of the 2 properties that you've shortlisted. If you've got 3, that's fine. I only want to see 2. Here's your first chance to make a decision, and that gives me an idea on what you're looking for, and I can see if there's any issues that from my experience I can see that you may not be aware of. And then we went from shortlisting to inspecting the properties, and that would be quite a change for a lot of people, maybe even a little bit dramatic, because you've been doing a lot of thinking and planning, and going out and inspecting properties is rather committal. It's sort of like saying, okay, yeah, I am serious about doing this, and I guided you in regards to the things to look for, some of the questions to ask, and the likes of that. Now, what I didn't mention, and this is the joy of not quite live TV, but working through the program as I go, is once again for your homework, with the properties that you've inspected and you like, it's time for you to get some serious information from your realtor or the landlord. So things like you want a tenant ledger. You also want to have a look at getting the monthly books in an annual format. So what is their annual return on that property, so you can see from their accountants what your outgoings are, what your expenses are, any little bits and pieces they've been putting in there as well to check the financial viability for the property. And you also want a copy of the lease and have a look at it. You'll find that most of them are standard, but you'll start to get a feeling for, okay, how much is the rent? Does it include outgoings? What is outgoings in this instance? Quite often that's a big discussion point, for want of a better word. Do I charge the accountant's component for doing my books for the property as outgoings? Is land tax classed as outgoings? And also things like, okay, what is the annual reviews? Is there an annual review? Is there a CPI increase? Are there end of lease reviews? Are there options available, or is the lease about to finish out? And the tenant ledger will also give you an idea if they're paying regularly. Lets you know if you're buying an asset that's almost under stress. If you've got ad hoc payments or always late payments, they tend to be sort of flags that you need to have a look at. So these are the things you can ask your real estate agent to look for. And when you ask that, the real estate agent will recognise that you are serious and starting to get the information that you need to. If you're a bit of a scaredy cat, put it in writing. It's easy to send an email, and when you get that information back, you can quite quickly see if you're getting the information you want, or if they've missed 1 or 2 things, which once again tends to be a bit of a flag to work through. Then we had a bit of fun, and we spoke about risk appetite. That was my Christmas video, because I think we were cooking the turkey on that particular day, and it gave you an idea that investing is more to do with the stomach than it is the head. That was a bit of an educational piece, because it's not only about buying the property, I want to make sure that you're in a good position to make the most of that property. There's nothing worse than having a new toy and not knowing how to use it. I want to make sure that you've got the mindset to use that property and the risks associated with it, because every investment and even every non-investment has risk associated. And then we went a bit deeper into risk management. We talked about how to identify the risks, and then how to avoid analysis by paralysis. Or is it paralysis by analysis? Paralysis by analysis is what I'm thinking of. So many people find a risk and then just stop. This property's no good, or even they drop out of the journey altogether. This whole commercial investment is too hard. We spoke about how to manage those investments so as you can reduce the risks, which then gives you an opportunity to find something that you may not have looked at normally. And your homework is to send me a copy of your risk analysis for the two properties that you've got. I want to have a look again to make sure that you've picked up the main things, and also to get a feeling if you identified something unique with that property that is of interest, and I might be able to help you a little bit in feedback and even just my own understanding of what's happening in different types of properties in different areas. Also, what I want you to do, so there's a fair bit of homework, and that's unusual for the wrap-up video that we have for the week. Normally I give you the day off, but today is a bit different. This is a very much critical part of the program, and we need to make sure that you're fully fledged for it. Since you've done your inspection, I want you to go back and have a look at the spreadsheet that you filled out previously, which gave you the budgets in regards to how much money you need to put in, what your income's going to be, what your expenses is going to be, what your funding is going to be, and fine-tune it. Because you'll find that now that you've done an inspection and you've looked at these figures from the realtor, that some of those figures you put in may not be relevant anymore. Some of them may not be applicable. It may be paid for by your tenant, such as perhaps insurance was covered and you had that, or land tax is covered and you had that as an expense for yourself. And there may be, and there usually is, some additional things. You've walked around the property and said, I allowed $10,000 for renovations. I really probably need to do probably closer to $18,000 because that extra door at the back or something is really needed. So have a look at tuning that the spreadsheet together, and if you want to, send a copy to me. If not, it's more important that you talk it over with your accountant and maybe even your financier. They're the ones who are going to need to know what you've got coming through there. And then after the hardcore work on risk management and risk appetite, we took another exit stage right, and we spoke about putting you in a position where you can leave your day job. We discussed how different people want commercial properties for different reasons, and a lot of them is for financial security, to transition into retirement, to retire themselves, or even just to reduce your job to a couple of days a week and travel and go to Mauritius and work on your laptop and be a passive investor. So that was an interesting way to run from there. Now, where are we at? Okay, well, the good thing is, when you've done your homework for this week, you can take off 21, which is hiding somewhere. Oh, there we are. That's right, it's one with the circles, because the circles is when you can get back to me. So, 21 days into the program, you are doing so well. Many other people aren't this committed, and you are going to find incredible benefit. Have a look at your Spirex book and have a look at some of the videos, the things that you've learned. Reward yourself with recognition of effort well done. So next week, we're actually going to have a look at transitioning from commercial shopping to getting ready to present your offer. And this is a stage where I'm going to show you how to save tens of thousands of dollars. So get your homework done. Get your head in the right space. Look forward to catching you tomorrow. Take care and God bless.